already know or should know our customers, right? So you've already got some of that built-in intel. Because ABM really requires strong alignment with customer success and sales and marketing and ops, which in a successful customer marketing role, you already have that built out, or it's a goal that you have to strengthen those relationships. So a lot of overlapping need there. You're already really good at personalizing the message, whether it is the type of individual you're speaking to, or whether it is the type of industry that company is in, right? We're already tailoring a lot of that messaging to our customers based off of those segments. The current demand for customer growth, right? We're in this space that net new is getting harder and harder to come by, and so companies are leaning more on us as customer marketing to keep customers happy and to grow. So being able to use an ABM strategy to do that is an excellent way to streamline some of your processes. And then the ability to scale. So we are all quite adept at needing to talk to our full customer base all at once and still making it feel personalized, and being able to get to those pieces quickly. So ABM really lines up well with a lot of our standard customer marketing motions. So solid foundation, learn from my pain. You need to have good and, dare I say, updated account level data. So whether you're looking at your NPS scores, if you're in a platform, how much are they using of that platform? How many of their users log in? Any sort of account metrics that you can identify. Sales information, right? Who was involved in the buying committee the first time, and where did it go, right? Was the procurement process a nightmare, or was it super streamlined? Is it, if you're in the SaaS space, is the buying committee ultimately the IT team, or is it the end users? Any of that information can be super helpful when looking at how you target expansion, cross-sell, upsell conversations with your customers. Also, knowing where they're at in their customer journey needs to be something that you can query, whether they are onboarded or a longtime customer. That is an important segment you need to be able to capture, and knowing what their goals are. Why did they choose your company, your product? What were the values that they hold as an organization that they were hoping to realize with bringing you on? Having that data in a way that you can slice and dice it is going to make ABM plays much, much easier. So if you don't have that yet, start those conversations with your ops team, with your customer success team, with your sales teams, to start having that built out so that you know about the customer health, you know about the groups of customers that all came to you to solve X, Y, Z, and maybe they haven't solved it yet, right? Implementation and sometimes takes longer depending on what your product or industry is. So having those pieces will help you run successful campaigns. And then after you do that, it's really important to have alignment on what the goals are. I think in customer marketing as a whole, but certainly in ABM, you can turn into an order taker pretty quickly. So ensuring that they know what an account-based marketing campaign is, why you would want to segment based off of persona or based off of account health, where that result data will live. I'll get to the tech stack in a bit, but oftentimes, our campaigns have results in various platforms. So making sure that they know, because they're going to want to know, right? It's their customer. Especially your account team, they're going to want to know that you're not bombarding or sullying a relationship, and sales is going to want to know the second they can jump on it to get the close, right? So having all those expectations set up. And the other piece, having the communication open for them to lob you leads as well. So making sure that they understand it, so that if they see that, the account director comes off a call and says, wow, like they said they were bragging to their coworker, and their coworker is struggling with a different product or whatever, having that open dialogue and that intentional space where they can give you those is going to help streamline some of the tug and pull of identifying campaigns. And attribution is a huge one in customer marketing, in any marketing, right? Identifying what your organization expects of these cross-sell and upsell campaigns, and when do you get credit, right? You want to make sure that your work is being displayed correctly. Especially with customer accounts, right? They might be adding in additional user seats that doesn't look like a new product, right? It's not a cross-sell or an upsell technically, depending on how your organization views it. They might be coming up on a renewal, and your hard work got them to buy a new product that gets rolled into that renewal opportunity instead of a separate one, right? So having those ties in place so that, oh, yes, Mary, I see a hand.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's good. I can't see the chat right now.
Just a couple of questions so far. One, do you have maybe a spreadsheet or something that lists out some of these data points? Because I think that'd be one, I can go back and either create that based on like what you're talking about here. But I think like some of these things are really helpful, and we don't always think to include them maybe in the data that we've collected, like the expectations or the user cases. And then, so let me stop there. Go ahead.
Yeah. I do have a workshop document. I'd have to clean it up for public facing, but I'm happy to do that. And recently did some deep dives with the customer success team to pull out these nitty gritties that weren't necessarily stored already on the account. So yes, I can provide that.
Awesome. And yeah, so that was one, you said, second, you said user seeds. Was that like, is that similar to user case?
No, I meant seats with a T.
Oh, okay. Seeds.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, what's this new word? Okay. Yeah. And third, where do you get this information? Is this like a lot of this found in like sales notes from the teams, or, maybe in Gainsight or something like that? And do you focus in on accounts that are going to be important for kind of expansion, and then find all of this information? Or is this like you find it all first, and from there you can kind of segment down into what you want to go after?
Yeah, excellent question. I wish we lived in a world where customer success and sales kept their notes up to date, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah. It would. It'd be great.
But so the most recent tactic that I ran was asking each of our customer success directors to identify one account. And we had an hour-long deep dive where I walked through, these are the data points I need about this account to identify whether they align with any other accounts and whether they are ripe for expansion. And some of those metrics, like I said, how much they're using your platform, if they are fully utilizing what they have purchased, that information certainly can be pulled out of your platform, hopefully. We also we use Salesforce, and so on each sales opportunity, there are notes that speak to what the value realizations are. That was already part of our sales process, which was nice. So I was able to reference that and kind of take it to the customer success team and ask them, this is why they initially said they wanted to buy a Primo. Are they getting that right now? And why or why not, right? Sometimes it's just they got into it and they pivoted. And sometimes, there are landmines that help you avoid them when building out campaigns. Depending on how nitty gritty you want to get with your initial ABM campaigns, starting off with those that have strong customer health scores and have addressable white space is an easy way to look at it. But no, if you're going to do a one-to-one deep dive, you really need that information either already stored about the account or to have a conversation with those that know it best.
That makes sense. And when you are going into ABM, I might have missed this at the very beginning. Are you, with this approach, is this for finding people for customer marketing activities, or are you thinking more about the expansion side of it or their accounts?
Yeah, both.
Right.
So the most successful ABM campaigns that I've run so far have actually leveraged an internal champion. So providing an opportunity for them to be the expert within their own organization has been incredible. Being able to either build out a case study or, give them the thought leadership platform to share why they have seen success using a Primo, and how they can help colleagues in other countries or in other departments.
That's a really good thing to think about. Thank you.
Other questions?
Questions, anyone? You can just raise your hand or hop in.
Yeah. All right. So strategies and examples. First of all, the big thing about ABM is knowing what your total addressable market is within your customer accounts. So I do a lot of account research to understand what these companies look like. Enterprise, global, publicly traded is a little easier to dig into, of course. So I'm lucky that I have plenty of that. But understanding, are you going to be marketing to 4 people in an organization, because that's what your buyer persona level looks like, and that's the size of the org, versus you need a wider approach. And then setting those expectations internally so that people know, you're not going to see a huge spike if it's a small audience. Upsell, cross-sell, I know that was a big part of the conversation yesterday, if you were there, on what those are even called and who should own that. I would caution anyone from taking that completely onto marketing's plate. We run it as customer marketing influenced add-ons, simply because you're not the one getting the relationship most of the time, and you're also not the one closing the deal. So trying to stay away from having that specific number on your head is going to save you a lot of headaches, because you can't make a customer happy all by yourself, right? Customer retention is another play that I have used a lot. We've got larger accounts that have gone out for RFP this year, and ensuring that our content is reminding them why they have a Primo, why we're the best for their use case, why we already understand their pain points, and rolling that out to not only our current customer department, but across the org, to provide our customer success team some air cover as they navigate that. It also candidly builds some goodwill internally, showing that you're a team player and that keeping a customer is part of the customer marketing value. Customer adoption is another great way that ABM can be integrated. And again, it goes off of those segments. If you identify that you've got a chunk of customers that have never used one part of what they have purchased, it kind of ties a bit into customer education as well, but being able to highlight those educational pieces and ultimately keep the customer around and provide them opportunity to grow. It's been a really valuable way to provide customer marketing. And then intent triggers and CS needs. So we have intent signal data coming from Trust Radius, G2, the Juice, 6 Sense, like all over the place. And so identifying when our customer accounts are doing stuff. It may be that they're ripe for expansion. It may be that they're moving towards attrition. So customer marketing being able to come in with an ABM play to either grow the account or save the account has been a helpful way to move that needle.
Did you also see that Justine asked a question?
Oh, no, sorry, guys. I don't have the chat.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. She said, would love to learn more about the retention programs. Are these emails, events, custom reports, etc.?
Yeah, with retention, we do run it as a multi-channel campaign. So it is email, ads, and specific outreach on behalf of the customer success team. And I do allow for customer success to pick whether they're sending it legitimately from just themselves or whether we're sending it out on behalf. But we are providing the communication and the content to show why we are a value add, why they should stay with us, and maybe what features are coming down the road. So alignment with product marketing is huge on that also.
Do you show product usage?
For what?
Justine, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. Product usage stat around PBR.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. What?
Oh, I was wondering if you show stats about the product usage, like, you're using a product, like the small key product usage with money to provide retention.
Okay.
Oh, so providing that usage stat back to the customer, is that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that is not something that I have done currently, but I think that letting customers know, it doesn't really fit for our model, but certainly, letting them know that there is added value that they are not yet realizing is the goal, right? These are the features and the products that you've already paid for, and we're going to help you use it well. But yeah, the metering and usage metrics doesn't really work within the Aprimo model. So I'm not doing that right now. Great question.
Christine says, I've run product health checks with customer success, customer education to show them where they are and where they can go. Um, that's helpful too. I think like the more information we have, the more that we can kind of help with this approach. How, sorry, go ahead, Marie. Do you have more?
Just my last slide. So one of the requests was, how do we do it without tech, or without specialized tools to be able to run ABM? Certainly, if you have a go-to-market team that is using any of them, that's awesome. Glom on and take it. But if you're not, so with lead sourcing, being able to put on your strong millennial hat and cyber stalk people on LinkedIn is a way of doing it. There's certainly plenty of tools out there to help you with purchasing, lead contact information. A great way to do that if you don't have them is to run events and get your internal customer teams to share it out with their coworkers, so that you can get some first party data there also. That's a slightly longer play, but lead sourcing is likely a tool that either your go-to-market or your sales team is already using, so you might just need to get access to whatever they have. Intent signals, like I said, we've got them coming in from everywhere right now, which is data chaos at the moment that we're trying to wrangle. But if you're not running off of some of the paid ones, you likely, from customer marketing, you likely have some coming in from your review sites, from the various things within your product, maybe. If you've got customers that suddenly stop logging in, right, there's some intent signals. So you can get creative if you don't have solutions for that, and then just build your strategy based off of what you got and start making the case to get something. Account metrics, again, that's hopefully something that someone in your organization has, and it may just be not accessible to you yet, or not in a way that is useful. So you may have some work to do with your dev team, but account metrics should be something that you own already. First party data. Internal champions and advocates, as I mentioned earlier, my best campaigns have come with leveraging internal champions. A trigger, if they put an online review and I can, and it's not anonymous, right? How do I use that public quote to go tell their coworkers they should check out a demo? So having ways that we can elevate our champions, and maybe they can help you identify contacts within the org, that would be great to talk to. Getting an internal referral and versus having to source a new one, right? They speak the same language. It could be huge for supporting the sales motion. And then trust and respect. You really need that if you don't have the tech to support the measurement of what you're doing. Making sure that leadership knows that this is a long game and that you're going to have an impact on the customer account and likely the sales side, even if the attribution model doesn't necessarily reflect that. So really important to champion yourself, but have those champions internally that understand the strategy and the realistic outputs based off of the tech and measurement that you have available. And then my last slide, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, please come say hi. I share random tidbits about my life in ABM customer marketing and the tug and pull of what those needs are. And I also share pictures of my food sometimes. So if we aren't connected, let's chat.
Perfect. I'd love to hear how some of you all want to use ABM in your customer marketing and advocacy. Like what are some of the goals that you have for this?
I was gonna type up a question, but I'll go ahead and explain this out. So
Yeah.
thanks again for running through this. We're trying to, and we use, because over here when we say ABM, generally we're talking about 6 cents, like we just started using 6 cents, but it uses, like, we also combine that with a bunch of other signals. I'm at the point where I'm trying to like set up a strategy, say for at-risk clients, and there's just so many signals, and I'm trying to figure out if, like, as of right now, I'm just gonna put in a survey, and would love to hear if you think this way to go sounds good. But I'm just literally listing in a survey like every signal we would have, and then I was gonna send that to our customer success team and be like, okay, what would be your top three that you think would be important to know? And then after that, it's determining, working with them, like, do they want to do the outreach? Do they want marketing to do the outreach? And I think I'm just kind of right now, it's just, I'm not sure which signals to sort of base all these on.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned like NPS, like in front of your first slides, like NPS, like, yeah, that's one. But then it's like also like these G2 intent signals. But then it's also, I'm thinking if it's like engagement with marketing emails, if that goes down, product, it's just so many. I think my head trying to wrap around what's the top ones. That's the approach I'm struggling how to narrow it down, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. And man, I'm right there with you. It's a mess, and I swear we keep adding more intent signal streams, right? So with 6 cents specifically, we have a weekly email that's being sent with targeted engagement activities. And your rep should be able to help you set that up. If he or she has not yet, ask them to, because some intent signals are stronger and certainly more troublesome than others, right? If you got a current customer that has researched 3 of your competitors, like, that's a big deal and something needs to happen. With that something needs to happen, I strongly urge you to drive the bus. Provide a template and have your customer success director or whatever you call them in your org do the outreach, but provide them with a template and have them continue that relationship, but give them some guardrails. Because otherwise they're going to not know what to say and just wait until their next monthly check-in. And by that point, you might have fallen further off the cliff.
Yeah. And one thing we're experimenting, literally, it's now just a month, where we've taken basically someone who was a BDR and just focusing on upsell has now converted to what we have now given the title of customer engagement rep, and it's just one person. And so now we're experimenting where it's kind of this in between where, yeah, I would think the customer success manager would reach out themselves, but is it something that we can pose, oh, your customer engagement rep, who isn't necessarily your day-to-day contact, but someone else we do have over here, does it for them. And so that's also, I don't know if other people in this call, like a similar role, are trying that out. It's just because I have pause because it's this new person, but then it's also just an additional So I don't know. Anyway, it's an experiment like we're trying over here at my company. Um,
Yeah,
and we'll see how it goes.
please do share how it goes. That's interesting. I wonder how the introduction is positioned, right? If they haven't connected with the account previously and you're having them swoop in when you think they might not be happy or maybe looking for other solutions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like we have all their email outreach starting with like, I'm your customer engagement rep and I work with your relationship manager XYZ.
Hmm.
And I mean, they've been getting some responses to things that we would do mass emails first and no response. And then when they follow up, then we do get a response. So we've seen some. So
Hmm.
again, it's brand new over here. So
Yeah,
that's I'm trying to figure out how to make it that position work with ABM and if it does nicely or not.
right. I love that. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
I think it was an important point you brought up about experimenting it. With experimenting, maybe start with like smaller groups instead of sending it to everyone. Send it to like groups of customers to see how they respond, if it's effective. Um, Maybe not even A/B testing, but just trying to narrow it down to be able to say, okay, this approach isn't working, this approach is working, or we're getting a lot of responses if we use this type of email, or if it comes from the customer success team, or if it comes from customer marketing or whoever it is, so that you can then amplify that back. Because if you start with all customers and then go back, it's harder to take those results and use them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Anyone else want to talk about ABM and how you can use it? I think that kind of in some ways, the ways we often talk about going after people for like GPI or the Magic Quadrant and things like that, a bit of that is kind of account based marketing. It's very specific to going after those people. Um, but I wonder how else people are using it in their organizations. Okay, that may not work. How about are there ways that you're hoping you could use this, or what type of results you would like to see from something like this? Any questions?
I don't mind sharing, but I don't know if my headsets is working. Can you
It
hear
is
me
now.
okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. We are starting a very unsophisticated ABM program for our enterprise clients. So basically, we sell software and then you can layer services on top of the software. So we're sending everybody a hydropod. If you don't know what that is, it's a little pot that grows herbs for you to enjoy. So we're sending that along with brochures and case studies as a direct mail to our enterprise clients. And I worked with my AM team to identify who we should be sending and which accounts should be included. So it's a very baby at ABM. We don't have other filters like personas or anything, but we're just getting started.
I love that. Yeah, and that's where having that account data is going to be huge, knowing which customers may even need the support and which customers are in trouble and saying you need support might push them over the edge, right? So having that data for you to identify which customers would be a good fit for that ABM play is going to lead you to much greater success and not anger your account team.
The account team, yes. Is it the account team's always like the customer success, or are you thinking more of the like account executives? I know that's a
For me, it's
random
the
question.
accountant. Yeah, for me, it's the accountants executives. I sit on the demand gen team, so I basically serve them as their like demand gen person.
Gotcha. It's so interesting how everything's different for different
Mhm.
companies. Totally different topic, of course. Okay. If anyone else wants to talk more about ABM, go ahead and post it in the chat, and we can do that.
Oh, we just got one
Oh,
from Donald. Yeah, so the customer journey phase, that is where they are. So you've got the buyer journey, right? So we have a customer journey where it goes from onboarding, activation, value realization, renewal, and then there's a fuzzy stage that I don't even really worry about. That has to do with whether they think that they're ready for expansion. Y'all, it doesn't get updated. So I don't even worry about it. But that would be a great stage for your team to implement if they aren't. If you can keep them on it. So yes, knowing where they are in their journey as a customer for you will provide you the insight onto whether or not they're going to have enough experience with your company. It's also going to tell you if one of those stages has taken too long, if they have not hit value realization yet, and they've been with your organization for a while, if they don't have, if they're still trying to get all of the tech stack connected and they've been with you for months, right? That's going to give you some pretty big red flags that tell you don't want to be talking to the rest of the organization about how great your tool is, because you're going to kill any opportunity for expansion, right? You want to make sure that account is in a good, healthy spot before you do any sort of cross-sell or upsell with the account.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think you have to know what's going on and really think about how you would want to be connected with as a customer. Like, if especially like in this case, you wouldn't want to be connected with about doing some kind of customer marketing activities if things aren't going well. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Maria. This was great. I really appreciate you hopping on and sharing your ideas with us. And I think there are, like, especially for me, the data part of really collecting all of this information and having it in place so that you can make these decisions on who to reach out to is so important. And as I posted yesterday on LinkedIn, I'm going to work on creating a course for data and customer marketing. And of course, I'll just say this, like, a lot of it I think can come from community. That's one of the ways that I tend to work around having to be so integrated with customer success and sales when they don't always have the time or want to deal with me, is by starting with who I can get active in the community and getting them posting. And really, customers will say and share so much about what they're doing and what's going on for them in a community. So if you learn how to watch and kind of take notes or put it in your CRM, you'll be able to collect some data really quickly. And I've used Influitive in the past to do that as well, just because you can ask all these different questions. They get added to the profile. It's really interesting to be able to run the reports and see that. But it helps too with being able to go back and decide which companies do we want to get closer to? What information have we already collected about them? And specifically for me, what information have we collected that we don't always think about, like, company size, company MRR, how much they make a year, things like that. So Yeah, but we still have 11 minutes, so I'd love to hear what other people are working on that's working for them in customer marketing right now.
Okay, well, I shared this in your open share channel yesterday, but in Q4 last year, we run a fiscal calendar year. I ran an early renewals campaign, and I didn't think it was successful, so I didn't run it this quarter. And we are going into the quarter now with only 4 early renewals. So, which is, we did far more last quarter. So yeah, it's a really simple email drip campaign with a segmented list of customers and different special offers. And really easy to do. And the audience list is super small because it's just main points of contact. But yeah, that ended up apparently performing well for us, kind of A/B testing quarters. There's other factors that go into that, like how many renewals you're expecting, but it was about the same. So I don't know, for thought in case anybody wants to try out something like that.
How would you adjust it, change it for the next quarter?
So had I not been asked to do this by CX yesterday after I already made my Q2 plan, I might have made some adjustments, but this round I'll just run it the same way. I will be adjusting. We're about to release a new feature that is in high demand from our customer base. So we'll be leveraging that as the kind of hook or the special offer to be able to access that feature at no cost for early renewal for 6 months.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm changing up what we're offering, but and I think that should work well for us.
I like the idea of it being for 6 months too, because it kind of opens up that like space for in 6 months, we're going to revisit where your account is at and, what we can do to upsell you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it definitely helps us recognize some revenue prorated still in the next fiscal, or in this fiscal. And then for our premium customers who get all of our features, our premium or enterprise, we partner with a community. So I work with a PRM, a partner relationship management tool. So we have a partnership with several of the partner communities. And we offer, our premiums are pretty sticky customers in general, and they're on much smaller lists than the rest of the list. So we just run a small promotion with them that they can have a free annual membership for early renewal with the PLG community. So yeah, that didn't perform so great. That's the one I would tweak. But that's where I just am being lazy about it because it's such a small list, small number or percentage of the list.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, even thinking about that, like being that small list, you don't want to put a lot of effort into making changes or, overthinking how important it is when you have all of your customers to consider.
Right. I shouldn't call myself lazy on a recorded call. It's not lazy. I'm one person and it's, I'm evaluating my time. And to your point, the juice is not worth the squeeze there. So
you're just taking a better approach to your priorities, like what you need to get done. And, if it's not making sense to put a lot of effort into a small group of people, then you just can't do it. You only have so many hours a week. And for me specifically, I only have so much mental energy per day. I can get a lot of work done really quickly, but it would burn me out really quickly as well if I did that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want to share what they're working on that's working well for them?
Or not working well, and you want ideas on how to pivot. We're all tired on a Friday, Mary.
I know. This is the quietest we've had a call in forever. Jake, do you want to share how things are going at your new position?
Why not? Turn my camera on too. They're going well. I think the biggest question, well, the biggest challenge for me in this new role is that it's going to be fairly events heavy. I'm going to be doing a lot of programming for our customer events. We have one in New York in October, and the big one is in Paris in November. So I'm going to be spearheading like what the content's going to be, who the speakers will be, what they're going to be speaking about. And so that's something that I've never done before. And I'm wondering if anybody has, and maybe has any advice for a first timer going through that. It's definitely going to be a huge challenge. It's going to require a ton of product knowledge. It's going to require intimate knowledge of our customers, obviously. But I think I'm nervous about it, but I'm excited for it. So.
Oh, I'm so sad this comes up with only 5 minutes left on the call.
I know. I was like, this is more than a 5-minute conversation.
It is. Yeah. But
These net new events?
I blame Mary.
Are they net
What's
new
that?
events? Like, are they new events?
The first one was last year, so we have a bit of a jumping off point. The last year's went extraordinarily well, and it will be bigger this year. So I definitely have some sizable shoes to fill. That's both good and bad, I think, because last year's was so great that I could take what went well from it. But I also want to do my part to. I think the content itself last year was something that they struggled with getting right. Given that it's in Paris, we have a global audience of people. I think we struggled to find something that was accessible to everybody, and so that's just sort of a supplementary challenge to making sure that the content itself is valuable. But to answer your question in short, yeah, I mean we have a little bit of a baseline to work from, which I guess is a good thing.
And do you have like an overall CAB there, or product advisory board, that you could tap?
We do have a CAB, for sure. We do have a CAB, and so I'll definitely be utilizing them as much as I can. We're also hosting a thing for them the day before the conference, so I'm sure there'll be plenty of work with them leading up to that. I've seen a couple people saying in the comments that they could chat more about this. I would love to do that. Let's do that.
Yeah. Maria, were you going to say something?
No. I mean, I have some experience with events too, so I can be pulled into those conversations too. If, I don't know, Mary, if you want to have a future roundtable on it, or.
Yeah. So next week is Sienna Abdalian, and she's going to talk about getting executive and enterprise advocates. But the week after that is Good Friday. So I needed to ask if people wanted to have a call then. And since nothing is scheduled for that day, if people do want to have a call, that could be a great day to talk about events. Or if that's too far out from today, it's 2 weeks, I can definitely throw something together sooner.
Yeah, I think I echo what people were saying. Don't know if I'd be able to meet that day, but it doesn't like I said, the conferences aren't until fall, and so personally speaking, I have a little bit of time. So if we needed to push it out a week further, that is not a big deal for me.
Okay. Yeah. I will follow up with a bunch of you in the community and just see like what works. Because the week after that, we have someone coming to talk about retention and expansion. So that didn't have to be another week later.
That's okay,
but
too.
It looks like maybe we won't meet on April 1st, or not April 1st, Good Friday. And yeah, we will meet the week after, and we'll just I'll put together some kind of day where we can hop on and talk about events. And I think that's going to be a really good topic. So yeah, we're at the end. Marie, thank you again for hopping on with us and giving us lots of ideas. If you want to share the slide deck, and if you get to throw some of those metric ideas into a spreadsheet, or just give me a list and I can throw them into a spreadsheet, that would be helpful. And yeah, I'll have this recording really soon. Everybody else, I'll see you in the community. Well, Marie too, because you're there. And everyone have a really good week.
Okay. Thanks, Marie. Thanks, Mary, for setting
Thank
us up.
you.
Everyone, have a
Sure.
great
Bye.